Okay, we can start now. So, thank you everyone for joining the webinar. My name is Ankita, and I'm the regional manager for Africa in Frappe. I look actively into business and marketing enablements for the community in Frappe. So, in today's session, we have Mukesh Varyani joining us from Finbyz. Finbyz Tech is a Frappe bronze partner, and they have done some excellent work around creating custom applications for import and export businesses. So today, Mukesh from Finbyz will help us go through the same. So let me give you a quick background about Mukesh. So he's currently the managing director at Finbyz. And Mukesh decided to play his role through Finbyz in bringing in change for the clientele through IT and financial expertise. So currently, he's passionate to revolutionize business through technology and works on ERP implementation and software development. So, Mukesh, thank you for taking this session, and it would be really nice if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for coming to this session. Let me also present my screen.
So I think, Mukesh, you can introduce yourself,
Sure.
And maybe we can run the poll first.
Okay, sure. We have been into ERPNext implementation since last 10 years or something. We have been working on ERPNext since version 5. Currently, it is at version 15. We have dealt with a lot of customers in various industries. A majority of customer base is basically exporter importers. So we had to work on this particular solution, which we are going to present. I would like this session to be more interactive. If you guys have any queries or questions, we'll definitely have time for it, and we'll basically try to solve it. Even in between also, if you happen to have any question, you can drop in the chat and I'll try to answer that as well.
Great. So, Mukesh, maybe we'll launch the poll. Requesting everyone that we have just run a quick poll. So before starting the session, we'll like you to take just 1 or 2 minutes to just respond to the poll, that we understand your expectations from the webinar. And meanwhile, I would request all the attendees if you can keep your mic on mute during the session, and you can open your mic during the Q&A, because the session is recorded. So we have already started the poll, so requesting everyone to just respond to the poll. On 10 seconds more, and then we'll end the poll. Great. So let me end the poll, and I'm sharing the results with everyone, so you can see the results. It might be visible on your screen.
Great. So I think many of you guys are using ERPNext, and export documentation and LC management happens to be the key problem area which you guys want us to cover. So we'll definitely cover that. Fatty. So shall we start now?
So yeah, we can start the session. Meanwhile, since we cannot run a complete introduction session, so it would be really wonderful if everyone, all the attendees, can introduce yourself in the chat box. And in case you have any queries during the session, please share your queries in the chat box so that we can answer them in the Q&A session at the end of the session, or maybe in between also we can take some time for the Q&A. Yeah, Mukesh, you can go on. You can start the session.
Okay. Now, is my screen is visible to all?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Just a quick introduction. We provide all the services around ERPNext, from implementation, support, custom development, and website development. So how this particular idea came about of developing an export-import solution. So we met a client. Basically, we shown this wonderful solution to him, like this is going to solve a lot of your business problems. And the first thing which we encountered was I can't use it because it doesn't even have basic fields which I need in the pro forma invoice itself. Like the port of loading, port of discharge, and these things are not there. So we said, fine. I mean, these are like just the fields, and you just want it to be into the print format. It can be easily handled into ERPNext. Given the way ERPNext is built, you can add the custom fields, you can add the print formats. And we basically presented it into the demo itself. In sales order, we basically added some fields which are related to the export import, which is like shipping terms, port of loading, and all the things, and presented this particular pro forma invoice format. They got impressed and they started this journey. And this journey basically worked out to be basically much more deeper than what we envisioned at beginning. So this was not the only problem they were facing. There were a lot of other challenges which we came about. And to solve these all problems, we thought, and these are like common problems across the exporters. So we thought, why not to create a separate app, which is basically common across, and people can use it directly and solve it easily. So this particular thing is what we basically developed. This is called Exim. Now, this Exim app is basically very easy to manage kind of an app where you can actually manage all these things and much more. It has basically, it is also there on the GitHub. So it is an open source solution. Let me also share the details. Like you can actually visit GitHub. So the people who are developers, they can use this particular app repository and install it. People who are there on Frappe Cloud, they can directly install these applications. They are divided into 3 parts: forward contract, your advanced authorization license, and the roadmap management. The detailed documentation and everything is also provided over there. So you can use this to install it and basically move forward. Now, coming to the solution part. So where the next challenge which we came across was this. Customer said we basically get into LC contracts. And LC contracts are very detailed kind of contracts where you have a lot of terms and conditions which are basically signed by you at the time of creating the sales order. So you get into this contract, and then maybe after a month or 2, when you're basically shipping the goods, you have to remember what terms you agreed upon. This is a tedious process. Now, client basically said, sometimes my team again rereads the whole LC document while preparing the documents. Even after rereading, they miss out 1 or 2 points which are crucial to execution of this particular document. So if they miss out, there are charges and penalties which they have to pay. So what are the things which are basically mentioned into the LC? There are 2 things. One is which documents are required to get your LC negotiated well, and which are the specifics to be mentioned into each document to get it passed through the negotiation process. So what we did was we created a separate document, which is basically contract term. This is again the sales order. You are going to enter into this, where you are going to enter all the LC details. The key things which you are going to mention while reading the LC is what are the documents which are required. So you are going to put the document required, and you are also going to put what are the crucial things for this document to get negotiated well. So if there are any specifics which are mentioned to be written into some specific document, you can mention it over here. Now you have to be reminded at the time of invoice so that you don't have to reread the LC again at that point of time. So if somebody has read it well and documented these things, when you are basically creating the invoice, you basically get this section where you are reminded about the documents check and the documents which are required. The simple thing is somebody who has checked it, he has to check mark it. So his name and everything is registered. So person responsible is at least identified. You make lesser number of mistakes into this particular thing. So things becomes much more easy in that way. The next problem which we encountered was manual documentation. So how people used to make the document is there are a lot of things which are common into the invoice, but all these things are again copy pasted into Excel file or into the Word document where you are basically putting the things which are related to sales invoice again by copy pasting. When you do this, the client used to face some challenges where somebody did not or missed to copy paste one particular thing and it was actually carry forwarded by another invoice. Which led to unnecessary reputational issues in the documentation, and sometimes the information which should not go to the client used to go to the client. And you actually have to make a lot of these documents. Anybody who is an exporter would know, I mean, a lot of people have raised this particular problem as the major issue as well. You have to create like custom invoice, commercial invoice, packing list, and all the different stuff. When you're making these all documents, there are some specific standards which you have to actually follow and present all the information which is then in sales invoice into those documents. So the solution which we thought was, when you install this particular EXIM app, you get this particular section of EXIM into the sales invoice itself, where you can actually mention your FOB value, freight, insurance, and all other details of your export. If you mention all these details, you're creating two things. One is you're creating a record, and also side by side, you're creating these documents into the system. So all these documents are now generated into the system automatically if you have filled all the details right. Saves a lot of time, and you basically can actually avoid the mistakes of copy pasting it into the various places because a lot of crucial things are already captured into the invoice, isn't it? So those details are captured, and basically the additional details is what you are basically mentioning here. So this solved another problem. Now the next problem comes is in export, you get a lot of benefits from the government, like road tax and duty drawback. You also get your GST refund if you are basically doing the invoice on with payment of duty. What happens is if every document is proper and everything is all right, you are going to get the refund automatically without worrying about anything. But road tax, still you have to make a claim. If you have received it or not is something which is to be checked by some person in your account department, and he's also in busy schedule, forgets, and maybe after 3 months or 4 months you realize, okay, this particular drawback has not been received, and that time you actually go deeper and try to solve it. What happens is you actually are losing on interest because the money is parked with the government for much longer than you expected it to. And there is no proper accounting of these things done automatically, so that you can actually see in your balance sheet or balance sheet where you can actually find this is the amount which is receivable and pending from the government. So the solution which we thought was you put the receivable amount into it, put the road tax rate and duty drawback rate applicable to your specific item into item master itself. When you are basically doing that, let's say this is an invoice and your item is already carrying this particular thing. when you open this section, you get one extra section into the items table where this drawback rate and road tip rate is automatically captured. Based on this rate, your road tip value and drawback value is calculated. Not only that, when you basically submit this invoice, system will automatically create the road tip and drawback JV into the system. These two JVs are auto created, and these JVs basically these JVs are basically captured into the system as the receivable amount. So your receivable amount now is visible into your balance sheet. So you know what is the exact amount receivable from the government. Once you have this particular receivable amount, next step is basically putting this claim to the government. You basically there is another document which is custom document made where you are going to select the period for which you are going to put the road tip claim and get all the entries of road tip. System will capture all the entries of road tip with amount and shipping bill number and everything. And you can basically pass this claim and store it into the system. Whenever the claim is honored by the government, you get a script number and the amount. That script number is again basically captured into the system, and you get this particular license, which you are going to either utilize for the import duty or you are going to sell it off. So both the things basically are taken care. Now, in this system will also mark this particular invoice as paid for you in duty received for you automatically whenever this particular claim is honored by the government. So if you get the duty drawback into the system, you are going to pass the JV. That time your duty drawback is received and it is marked into the system by a checkbox. And if it is basically road tip claim, then road tip claim is whenever you are basically putting this claim and receiving the road tip license number, system will mark it as done. So you know how many claims are pending and how many drawbacks are pending from the government. And you have exact idea where to follow up with the team. So these amounts are pretty large. Sometimes if you are like 650,000, then this is the amount which turns out to be. If you're talking about $650,000 single invoice. If you miss single claim or you're holding this particular claim with the government, your working capital is basically on the hold. The next thing is unhedged currency. So you're basically dealing in foreign exchange whenever you're doing the export. As you know, foreign exchange, even USD rates are fluctuating. They are not stable. And these rates can be hedged through forward contract. If you're hedging through forward contract, the challenge which client used to face is the team utilized wrong forward contract instead of which was supposed to be utilized into the payment receipt. Or there used to be cases where you totally forgot the forward contract and it is maturing today and you don't even remember. So bank cancels it at wrong rate and you basically end up losing money on the cancellation amount. These challenges they used to face because they used to maintain this forward contract into a separate register, which was an Excel file again. What we suggested was you don't maintain it into the Excel file, you do it into the system itself. So we created a separate document of forward contract. This is where you're going to put all the forward contracts booked by you. Now, these forward contracts can again be utilized automatically at the time of doing the payment entry in the system. So let's say this is the forward contract which I want to use. This is the invoice. Whenever I do the payment entry, there is a separate box whenever it is a multi-currency foreign payment entry where basically this currency and this currency is different. This forward utilization box will be visible. Here you can choose the forward contract from your list. Whichever forward contracts have outstanding balances, it will be show up. You can choose any of them. And if you choose these forward contracts and save it, okay, and so the reference has to be mentioned. The invoice is already paid. So basically, you make this particular utilize this forward contract into the transaction. Whenever you utilize the forward contract, automatically gets it marked as utilized into the system. And if it is utilized, the system will mark this forward contract utilized. If any amount is pending, there is also a possibility of canceling this particular forward contract, and you can choose the cancellation rate and everything. Automatically, a JV will be marked into the system for your exchange rate gain or loss. So you're managing your forward contracts. Your gain and loss is automatically taken care. You can also create the easy notification from the system which reminds you of forward maturity before certain date, number of days. So you have all the details mentioned. You have the maturity mentioned into the forward contract itself. You can set the system up for reminding you for cancellation or utilization of this forward contract on the maturity date, or even when this forward contract maturity starts. So things become much more easy. So this is the overall process. You basically book the forward contract, utilize into the payment entry, and do the cancellation of the excess amount. Now, last problem is very specific problems to the people who are basically doing import and export both. If you're doing import and export both, there is a possibility by which you can save your import duty, which is by declaring that you are importing these items for something which you are going to manufacture and export later on. This license is called Advanced Authorization License, available from the government. If you have taken this license, the license comes with a declaration where you declare these are the items I am going to export, and these are the items I need to import for manufacturing this particular item in this much quantity. So both the sides, you have quantity and amount declared even before taking this particular license. If you are basically declaring the things upfront, and then you have to actually utilize this particular advanced authorization license, you have to take care you are not going to use the license for more than what has been declared or less than what has been declared. So if any variations occur, those variation can be costly in either ways. So let's say in export side variation occurs, if you did more than what you declared, you actually lose on your excess duty drawback, which was available to you. So you lose the benefit of duty drawback, because when you are using the advanced authorization license, you are not eligible for duty drawback. If you do less, then basically you are penalized by the government whenever it comes into their eyes that you have done less than what you declared as an export. Same way in import also, if you basically do more, then you are basically saving on more duties, but whenever you're caught, you have to actually pay the penalty. And if you're doing less, then it was available to you. Why didn't you use it? So you are losing on the potential benefit which you could have taken. So this is the problem. What client used to face is people just have to mention the advanced authorization license into the import or export document. When you just have to mention it and you're copy pasting the things from the previous document, sometimes you miss copy paste this particular thing as well. And the error happens, and that error goes to the custom department. You are basically creating troubles for you in the long run. To avoid this particular problem, what a solution which we provided was created another document in the system, which was advanced authorization license. This particular document will give you the, here you're going to declare this is the amount of import and these are the items which I'm going to import of this much quantity and this much amount. Now, at the time of export or import, you just have to choose this license number. And if your license has sufficient quantity or amount available, then only the invoice will be submitted. Otherwise, it will be giving you the error that you are utilizing more than what is available. And each time when you utilize, system will automatically calculate the utilization. So if you have done any import, it is also going to calculate it against it. And if you have done the export, system will also show it against it. So you are managing this license and also creating this document, which is later on can be submitted to the department if they that you have actually complied with the regulation properly. This calculation basically saves you from overutilizing or underutilizing. So just to sum it up, we have covered the whole thing, which is basically the whole cycle where basically you did the LC contract, you prepared the export documentation from the ERPNext, you generated the road tax and duty drawback amounts and marked the claim to the government, hedged your exposure through the forward contract into the ERPNext. And when you are importing, you also manage your advanced authorization license into the system. So this is the overall process. There are many other minor features which are there into the Exim app. If you are basically trying it out, there are a lot of small things which you will be getting into the import and export side, which allows you to manage the things much more properly in the ERPNext. So now we are open for questions. I think we have received some of the questions. Let me check and answer those.
Yes, there's some of them in the chat box also.
Correct. So you can raise your hand, into this particular thing to question me, and till then, let me just go through the questions.
Yeah, I think they can unmute themselves and ask the question.
Yeah, that is also good. If you want to unmute and just ask the question. Okay, so I think there are some people who are new to export import and want to learn how they can. See, there are a lot of things. Even ERPNext by default also is much more prepared to handle your export import. There are some extra things which we have developed. So it's not necessary you use this, or even without this also, you will be able to use the ERPNext properly for your export import. Extra features, if you need it, once you are okay with the default, go with the extra. So it gives you the leeway. Imtiaz has some customers, so we'll definitely share this presentation. So we'll arrange to share it. Can we have a recording? I think recording is something which Ankita will. I think it is going to go on YouTube as well, right?
Yes, it is going to be on YouTube. But in case of recording after the session, like after 30 minutes, when the session gets over, you can just join the link again, and the recording will be visible to you.
Okay. Bill of lading. So bill of lading is a very important document when you are doing the export. It is basically the so your goods are basically loaded onto the ship. So that's when a shipping company will give you the bill of lading. So explain CHA, how to manage certain quotation of CHA. So CHA is again a minor feature which we have handled. So you can actually it is a purchase side. So your purchase side document, you can actually take the quotation from the CHA and whenever you are going to basically pay those charges to the CHA, the another problem which comes up is basically you want to actually map these charges against your particular invoice, sales invoice, to get the gross profit even more precisely calculated. So that change is also that. It's a minor feature. If you install this app, you are going to get it. How to manage importation and container management and landed cost. Landed cost is a default voucher in the system. So in ERPNext, there is a voucher for landed cost where you can put the details, whatever the costs are there, but they are basically added at the time of purchase. So if you're importing, you can put the landed cost there. While in export, the same landed cost is not feasible sometimes because you are doing the export and later on the CHA gives you the invoice. So you can put those charges into your landed cost, but you want to know the profit margin. So for that, there is a possibility of, so what this app has done is basically it is going to give you one more field into the purchase invoice side where you are going to just put the sales invoice number. By that, the cost will be allocated to that invoice, and in the gross profit, we put one more column. So we have created gross profit exports where you get one more column of these indirect incidental charges which you paid against that particular consignment, and you get to know the amount. Can we manage the reports in our own format? Um, uh, Malik, so we have been working. There is a print format builder, which is a new feature getting developed by one of the team members of the Frappe. What we are trying to right now, these documentation are basically standard built into the system, and we can customize it to customer a bit. But we are not able to give them the full authority whereby they can design this print format by their own. We are working on that print format designer so that it allows the customers to change this particular print format to their required format. That is something which we are working on. Maybe if we get sufficient interest, then definitely the work will be much faster. Let's hope for the best. But otherwise, also these formats can be customized. These are just HTML and Jinja, so any developer can help you to customize it. Even in fact, we can also help you to customize it if you want to have it in your own format. Does this import incentives? I'm not very sure about which are the incentives available for import. We have not done any specific on import side for the incentives specifically. Import duty can be saved through advanced authorization license, so that is something which we have developed, but nothing more than that. You can utilize the utilize the road tip license which you got against the import duty. That is something which is also there. So that feature is also a minor feature which is there into the app. How much? How to manage next bill of lading. So bill of lading is just a document. I mean, a bill of lading is a number. We basically allow you to add it. It is a standard feature. So ERPNext allows you to add it into the system. This number is important when you are basically managing your even GST refunds and everything. This number is important. So there is just a field. You can just add it over there, the number. Bill of lading number. But then apart from that, I don't know what else you want to manage. If you can ask the question, Sahil, then we can actually guide you.
I think, Mukesh, there's couple of questions in the Q&A box also. I think there's a question by Sunny.
Okay, just a second. Multiple license in foreign trade policy. How to calculate multiple LIC? Multiple license in foreign trade policy. So other licenses, actually, we have not actually got the chance to work on. If there is anything specific, you can share it with us. I mean, we can definitely work on that together. But then, as of now, we have just managed this particular license, which came up to us from one of the clients. I think Mr. Shelley wants to. So,
yeah.
So if some customer needs support, do you have any support plans? Yeah, we provide the support plans. We have hourly support plans. We have annual support plans. So whatever way you want to get associated, we are available in all the ways. We provide the support.
Okay, great. So otherwise, it's free to use, right? I mean,
yeah. So I already shared the Git. You can go to our Git and basically it is there. You can basically just install it from the Git, or you can install it from the marketplace as well. In marketplace, we have actually broken it down into 3 different apps instead of single app. So if you want to use it through that, because somebody wants to use a specific feature, he doesn't have to install the whole app. So that's why it is broken. But yeah, you can use it in both the ways.
I'll get in touch with you personally for that, for the support plan.
Sure. We'll look forward to that.
Right.
Any other question?
Anyone can unmute themselves and ask the question.
If no questions are right now, you can also contact us on these email address and our website, and my number is also given into this slide. So later on also, if you come across any questions or any specifics you want to work with us, I mean, we'll be keen to work in that way.
Also, I've shared a link in the chat box to provide us the feedback with regard to this session. It would be really helpful for us that if you can give us your valuable feedback so that we can, of course, pass it on to Mukesh. And in case you want to also get in touch, Mukesh, maybe you can share your, oh, yeah, it's already visible on your screen. Yeah,
it is
contact details. So that would be really helpful. And it will also help us to improve on in our upcoming sessions as well, so that any feedback will be really useful for us. So please do share your valuable feedback with us.
I think we got one hand raised. You can unmute and ask.
Yeah, please. Ms. Shadna, you want to ask something? You can unmute and ask. I think it might be a mistake. No issues. Fair. So I think we can conclude this if there are no further questions. Thank you so much, Ankita. I mean, I think we can conclude it. So thank you, Mukesh, for joining in the session and providing your valuable inputs to us. It was really helpful. And also to all the attendees to join in. Thank you for joining in. And in case your queries have not been answered, you can directly reach out to Mukesh, or you can reach out to us through the web form, which I have shared in the chat box. So please do. Thank you for the session and hope you have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.